Ushu anin way magana dog. Anin Shayan. Bungi Mino Aya. Niabata in the Ecos, Niabata Kose Minoai Niabata Giwanatis. I said hello, my relatives, and I asked how are you doing, and I said a little bit. I'm okay, but I also said that I am half tired, half sick, and half crazy. And for some of you that know me, you can relate to that. This is the fourth segment of the sharing about the assignments for the Native Art class with the Red Cliff outreach site for the spring 2020 semester. And although it's directed towards the students that's in the class, I know that there'll be others that might watch this and be able to pick up a few things in regards to Native art, which is sometimes beadwork and sometimes leatherwork and all other kinds or types of Native art that's out there. The first three that were done on YouTube laid some of the foundation for expectations from the midterm to the final semester of this period. And with the current events that's going on with the coronavirus, we've had to do a lot of different things to try to still hold classes, but yet still look at alternatives. So some of the classes that are being held, they're doing it through the Zoom. They're doing it one-on-one, they're doing it online. For myself, with a class like Native Art, I feel that it's one where a person needs to actually see and do the things in order to learn it. And so the approach that I took was trying to share these videos. It's based also on the foundation of what was learned from the beginning of the class to the midterm, and so we're going to expand that a little bit. For this next part of the semester, and what was shared on video number 3 was the Dreamcatcher 2 small tobacco pouches and then a larger one. But I wanted to kind of share one about the tobacco pouches, just to give you some alternatives, that could be there. I mentioned about, you can do them plain with the blanket stitch that you've learned previously. Also, you can also make them with the beaded edging around. These are 2 that I did more or less as samples to show you. And there's so many alternatives, to being able to create things. And so with the tobacco pouches, these were gifts that were given to me. So they took the pattern and they cut out 4 pieces, and then they did the beaded edging to tie it together. And so then it makes a bigger bag. Also, this one was given to me as a gift, and it has a medallion on it, but then also it has those 4 pieces that were cut out of the pattern and put together by the stitch. One of the ones that I wanted to share, and again, with some of these things, you just make them just to make them, but you also learn about some different things that might be associated with it. So you see some of my regalia that I have on. These were given to me as gifts over the years, and they became a part of my regalia. And so in learning from a lot of different people over the years, it's just amazing that how creative people can be and how they express that. And so when I turned 40 a while ago, I was given this eagle fan, and it was from a friend of mine that we got to be very, very close, kind of in the Powell circuit, but also because she was from Red Cliff, living in Milwaukee. So Beverly Vander Moore is the one that gave this to me for my 40th birthday. And Beverly is also related to the Basneys in Red Cliff. And for some reason, the Basney, older Basney family members were very creative and did a lot of work with leather. And so Kenny Basney, would make moccasins. Franklin would make lacrosse sticks and other types of native art pieces. Um, Beverly's mother, I believe, was Agnes Basney Van Vander, or Angie Basney Van Vander, and they seem to be really connected towards doing leather work, and so that's what Beverly, not only beadwork and stuff, but she specialized. Also, for my 40th birthday, Beverly gave me this dance stick. She was able to obtain an eagle, and that's where the fan came from, and then parts of this dance stick. And what I learned from Dee Bainbridge, that she learned from her grandma Ida DePerry, was with those dance sticks, they were called Manado Kajigan, and it was like trying to, as you're going around that circle, use that dance stick to eliminate or alleviate if there was any bad spirits or bad things that were there. So another birthday present I got from Beverly was this little tobacco pouch, and I think it was maybe when I turned 41 or so, and she happened to be up at the Red Cliff Powwow, and she gave this to me, and this is one of the samples that I wanted to kind of share with you as an alternative. You'll also notice that she has this little medallion here with the 4 sacred colors, red, white, yellow, and black, that she integrated into that. And so in looking at doing something like that, of course, there's always some things that you have to consider and take into account. And so for the sample that I'm going to share with you, it's based out of this leather that we got at the cabin. It was donated with a bunch of other things by Michelle Rabinot-Sobel, and Michelle is also a member of the Red Cliff tribe. And so when I looked at that, I thought, boy, that would be a good thing to use to share how to make this type of tobacco pouch. Also, there were some other pieces there that I used, and so for the fringes, you know, I was able to cut them, and they were long enough, so I cut it in half, and you'll see in a little bit how that becomes the fringe. The other piece, and it depends, I believe, on the type of leather that you're using. This is fairly light leather, but if you use like a heavier leather, one of the things you'll do, and I created this pattern, you know, just on a plain old piece of paper, the pattern, to be able to use that, and then from there kind of looked at where I wanted to have the holes. And so part of that is, you know, being able to use this hole puncher. What I noticed when I did it with this type of leather is that was a little bit difficult to go through, and I don't know if it's because it is so thin, but I know that sometimes when I've used the leather punch with thicker leather, it goes right through. So then, see, then you use that leather punch to make the holes. Also, when you're looking at the type of leather, one part is that you want to see what side do you want on the outside. So when I looked at this, I liked this part better on the outside, but you know, I had to look at the whole piece and had to look at both sides, because sometimes when you get leather, there's things that it might be stamped on there because when they made it, you know, that was how they were able to identify it, or there might be some other kind of imperfections that are there. Well, when I looked at that piece and decided to use that pattern that I showed you, I found a place where I wanted to cut the leather out. So what I did then is, of course, I traced it, and I had to trace, you know, 2 pieces. I wanted this rough side on the outside, but where I cut it is there was some pieces of identification that was pasted on there. And first I tried to take it off, and it wasn't coming off very good. But I decided to use this anyway as an illustration of, you know, things that you need to be kind of taken into consideration when you're working on this. And so then from there, I put this this piece of it's a sticky felt piece that'll be on the inside there. And so then I lined it up, you know, decided where I wanted to punch the holes. I started in the middle, and I went up one side, and then I went up on the other side for that. And so after that, I I had cut out another one to share with you. And okay, so this is the same pattern, similar to this. I decided that I wanted to put something on the front, and I wanted to do it before I did the piecing together. So when I cut out those fringe pieces again, it's cutting it out, lacing it through the hole, just doing like one tie, and then that creates, you know, the fringe for it. So eventually when I get this done, it'll have the fringes all on this side and this side, and it'll look like this, I hope. So that's another method to be able to have your creativity and making like the different types of bags. There's not just one way, there's not just one bag, there's, you know, whatever kind of pattern that you want to come up with. Like I said, I just created this pattern, and it was based on, you know, that piece that was there. So this is going to be the end of number 4 in this series, and in a few minutes I'll come back with number 5 because there are some other things that I want to share about the Native Art class. Gigawatt Men.